Warning, the following contains graphic content that may be disturbing for some viewers. If this is not of your liking, you are advised to walk away now. You have been warned.
The Cutie Mark Killers. The Cutie Mark Crusaders trotted through the town towards Sugar Cube Corner. Belle and Scootaloo were quietly discussing how their cutie marks were going to look, while Apple Bloom lagged behind. She was carrying one of the large jars of Applejack pie filling she had made the night before in her saddlebag. As they walked, they saw a familiar yellow Pegasus walking towards them.
Oh, hello, girls.
Fluttershy said with a meek smile.
Where are you off to?
Sugar Cube Corner!
Scootaloo piped up.
We have a special ingredient for a new pie!
Belle and Apple Bloom shot her a warning glare. Fluttershy didn't notice, however.
Oh, how nice. What's the occasion?
We're gonna bring it to class to share with every pony. Make sure it's good before the summer sun celebration.
Apple Bloom said.
Wouldn't school be cancelled?
Fluttershy asked, raising her eyebrow.
Why would it be?
Replied Scootaloo.
Oh,
Fluttershy realized that the three fillies would have no way of knowing what happened to Cheery. If she told them, they would want to know how she knew. That would lead to some troubling questions about what she was doing that afternoon.
Never mind.
Fluttershy stammered with an awkward laugh. Her eyes darted back and forth.
I really have to be going. Sakura said she would have the medicine I asked for ready today.
Sakura's? You're going to her place?
Scootaloo asked.
I thought she was...
Scootaloo was cut off by Apple Bloom, who had elbowed her in the side.
What?
Asked Fluttershy.
Nothing. We'll just, let you go then.
Apple Bloom said. The four ponies stood there in guilty silence until Fluttershy finally edged around them and headed towards the chorus. When she was out of earshot, Belle turned to the others.
You don't think she knows about Miss Cheery?
She whispered.
How could she?
Replied Apple Bloom.
Cheery was locked up in school. No pony would have seen her all weekend.
True.
Said Scootaloo.
But do you think Fluttershy was acting a little strange?
The other two nodded. She did seem distracted after she mentioned the school being closed.
Oh well, we'll deal with that later.
Apple Bloom said.
Right now, you two need to get your cutie mark.
Yeah!
Scootaloo and Belle exclaimed. They continued towards Sugar Cube Corner without giving Fluttershy another thought. As they approached the bakery, they noticed something odd. The place was almost empty. Usually, it was packed on a Sunday. But today, there were only a couple of ponies sitting at one of the tables outside. They trotted in and saw the bakery was completely empty inside, save for one pink earth pony.
Hiya, girls! Want to try some of my new cupcakes?
Pinkie Pie asked. She seemed ecstatic as usual, despite her shop being empty.
Sure, Pinky. What kind?
Scootaloo asked. She and Apple Bloom approached the counter, while Belle stayed by the door and turned the front sign to close behind her.
Well, I guess I would call them fireball flavor.
Pinkie said.
But after I gave out a few samples, every pony ran out screaming. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, on second thought I'll pass.
Scootaloo said, eyeing the cupcake warily.
Actually, Apple Bloom had some pie filling we mixed up yesterday, and we were wondering if we could use your oven.
Apple Bloom took the jar of red pulp out of her bag. Pinkie Pie gasped and snatched it from her.
Ooh, mystery pie! My favorite! Let's see. Is it raspberry? No, too chunky. Cherry? Strawberry? Ooh, the suspense is killing me! I have to try it!
With that, Pinkie opened the jar and dipped her hoof in. As the Cutie Mark Crusaders looked on in amusement, she brought some of the mush towards her mouth and licked it. As soon as she did, her eyes bulged out in disgust.
Ugh! What kind of pie filling is this? It's not sweet at all. It just tastes so bitter and acidy. Almost like copper or blood or something.
Scootaloo grinned as Pinkie tried to wipe the taste from her mouth with a clean hoof.
You guessed it, Pinkie Pie!
Huh?
Pinkie Pie looked at Scootaloo. Her tongue was still hanging halfway out of her mouth.
We call it Applejack Pie.
Scootaloo said, her wicked smile growing wider. She walked closer to Pinkie Pie. Applebloom and Sweetie Belle took up positions on either side of the party pony.
Why?
Pinkie Pie asked. Her perpetual smile was fading. The acidic taste lingered on her tongue.
It's named after the secret ingredient.
Scootaloo responded. She edged even closer. Pinkie Pie looked between the Pegasus and the jar, confused. She was starting to feel uneasy, and the two ponies on either side of her didn't help. She felt trapped. The taste in her mouth seemed to be growing stronger. That horrible copper taste. She looked at the jar again, and a horrible thought wormed into her mind.
Applebloom?
She asked, turning around.
Where's your sister?
Man, are you really that slow?
Scootaloo snapped.
You're holding her!
Dead silence filled the bakery. Pinkie Pie was staring down at the jar, at a loss for words for the first time in her life. That couldn't be right. Applejack was back at the farm. She was always back at the farm. This couldn't be right. It couldn't be. This had to be a... Without warning, Pinkie Pie burst into laughter. She dropped the jar and it smashed on the floor. Red pulp splattered everywhere.
Okay, girls, I have to admit it. That was a new one.
Pinkie Pie was nearly in hysterics.
That was a pretty convincing prank. So, let's all go see what Applejack's up to.
Desperation was creeping into her voice. Pinkie Pie was backing away from Scootaloo. Her laughter started to die down, and a horrifying false smile was left plastered on her face.
She's dead. You just ate some of her.
Scootaloo closed the distance between them.
No, I didn't, silly. That was pie filling. Applejack's back at the farm.
Pinkie Pie was softly giggling in a high-pitched voice. Tears were streaming down her face.
You really are clueless.
Scootaloo said. She was getting irritated.
Let me break it down for you. We killed Applejack, we ground her into paste, we fed her to you.
Pinkie Pie's giggling grew louder. She looked at her hoof, which was still stained red from the bit of Applejack she had unwittingly sampled. Her chest started heaving. Her vision was starting to fade around the corners. She tried to tell herself that this was all a lie, that it was some horrible, horrible prank. However, as much as she was afraid to admit it herself, she knew. Applejack was dead, and Pinkie Pie had eaten her. Pinkie Pie's deranged giggling stopped abruptly. Her curly mane suddenly lost all its shape, and it fell loosely to the side of her neck. She looked like she was staring into space, her manic smile still splitting her features. Finally, she explosively exhaled and collapsed on the floor. It was too much for her to bear. She passed out.
What was that all about?
Sweetie Belle said. She was merely looking over the unconscious Pinkie Pie.
Just Pinkie Pie being Pinkie Pie.
Scootaloo replied.
Come on, let's get her to the basement.
The three fillies dragged Pinkie Pie down the stairs. The basement was Spartan compared to the furiously decorated bakery. The walls were bare stone, with only a counter and a few stools as furniture. A rack of knives hung above, and a massive oven dominated the far side of the room. Sweetie Belle was starting to warm up her binding spell. Her horn started glowing as she gathered the magic she needed for the enhancement. However, Scootaloo stepped in front of her.
Save your magic,
She said.
I have a better idea.
She walked over to the counter and grabbed a rolling pin that was resting there. She walked over to Pinkie Pie. Taking careful aim, she clubbed her front hoof with it several times. Finally, Scootaloo heard a loud crack as Pinkie Pie's bone fractured. The skin was left bloody and ragged from the impacts. As Scootaloo was about to give the other leg the same treatment, a small whimper came from Pinkie Pie. She was starting to wake up.
What happened?
Pinkie groggily asked.
Did my number come up?
She shook her head and tried to stand up. As soon as she tried to put any weight on her broken hoof, however, a lance of white-hot pain shot up her leg. She cried out and collapsed to the floor. Pinkie Pie looked up and saw Scootaloo looming above her, rolling pin in hoof.
What are you doing, Scoots?
Pinkie tried to back away from her with her 3 good legs.
We're gonna have a little party,
Scootaloo said. Her voice was malice. A now familiar rush was creeping up her spine. Scootaloo knew what she wanted. Ever since the last night at Applejack's cellar, she knew. Scootaloo lashed out with the rolling pin, catching Pinkie Pie in the knee. The joint bent sideways with a sickening popping sound, inciting more agonizing screams from the pink mare.
And don't call me Scoots.
Pinkie Pie was sobbing on the floor, still trying to get some distance from her attacker. Her mind didn't know how to process this. No one had ever tried to hurt her before.
Why are you doing this?
She whined.
I didn't do anything to you.
You didn't do anything, Pinkie.
Said Sweetie Belle.
We just wanted cutie marks.
How is beating up a pony going to get you a cutie mark?
Pinkie sobbed.
Well, we aren't just going to beat you up.
Said Scootaloo.
Anyway, it worked for Apple Bloom.
Pinkie looked over to where Apple Bloom was standing. Sure enough, there was a cutie mark emblazoned on her flank. Pinkie could make out what looked like a piece of meat and 2 crossed knives. With growing revulsion, Pinkie thought back to what Scootaloo had told her in the bakery. If Applejack was dead, and Apple Bloom had a cutie mark that looked like that, then that meant...
Apple Bloom!
Pinkie shouted.
She was your sister! How can you do something like that to her? You monster!
Apple Bloom's expression didn't change in the slightest. She seemed detached from what was being said.
You 3 should be ashamed of yourselves! What kind of pony kills just for a cutie mark? You're just sick!
Pinkie Pie had reached a wall. There was nowhere left to back up to.
You're getting kind of annoying, Pinkie. Hold on, I'll fix that.
Scootaloo said. She walked over to the counter and grabbed a thin, sharp knife from the rack.
Open wide!
Scootaloo grabbed Pinkie Pie's face and shoved the blade of knife into her mouth. Pinkie tried to shriek as the blade cut into her tongue. However, Scootaloo had clamped her jaw shut around the blade. Pinkie Pie reeled in pain as Scootaloo began to twist and slash the knife around, shredding the soft tissue inside. It scraped painfully against her teeth and peeled the skin off of the roof of her mouth. Blood was pouring into the back of her throat, making her gag. Sweetie Belle and Apple Bloom grabbed Pinkie's front legs to ensure she didn't fight back. The trauma of the fillies grabbing her broken limbs, combined with the knife in her mouth, nearly made Pinkie Pie pass out again. Her eyes fluttered shut.
Wake up!
Snapped Scootaloo, slapping Pinkie Pie hard across the face. This snapped her awake. Scootaloo slashed the knife to the side, cutting through Pinkie's cheek. Blood splattered across the wall. Her mouth now empty, Pinkie Pie began coughing and spitting up a fountain of torn flesh and blood.
Hey, Apple Bloom.
Scootaloo said.
I think we found the perfect addition to your pie.
Apple Bloom smiled and let go of Pinkie's leg. The blood dripping from Pinkie Pie's mouth was making her stomach rumble.
Give me some from the leg.
She said.
I mean, it's nice and tender.
Scootaloo smiled and turned her knife to Pinkie Pie's right front leg, where she had started her assault. Pinkie Pie's mouth was so torn up, all she could do was whimper. She tried to feebly kick her assailants with her hind legs. She was so weak, though, the fillies barely even noticed. She looked over to where Scootaloo was cutting. There was blood pouring from her leg, and a ragged piece of flesh was being slowly peeled away. The burning pain was more than she had ever felt before. She wanted out. She just wanted the pain to stop. She wanted to die. Anything to stop what was happening.
There we go!
Scootaloo happily exclaimed, holding up a piece of bloody meat.
That looks great.
Applebloom said, staring at the flesh in Scootaloo's hoof. She grabbed it and greedily shoved it into her mouth. She moaned as she chewed. It was just as delicious as it looked. Pinkie Pie looked on in horror. Her whole world was crashing down on her. Nearly all her life, she lived in a constant state of happiness. Nothing ever really went wrong for her. When it did, she could usually just laugh it off. Now, 3 fillies had her trapped in her basement and were slowly killing her. Nothing was making sense. She blinked. Her vision was starting to get blurry from the blood loss. Scootaloo turned back to face Pinkie Pie, knife still in hand.
Let's ramp this up a bit.
She said. Scootaloo's eyes glinted with sinister delight. She was enjoying every second of Pinkie Pie's misery. It was not that she didn't like the pink party pony. She just couldn't get enough of the thrill of inflicting pain. She had felt it when Sweetie Belle had killed Miss Cheerilee, and even stronger when Scootaloo was stabbing Applejack. She could have gone on with it for an hour if Applebloom hadn't killed her so quickly. Now, however, she had a pony all to herself. Sweetie Belle and Applebloom were only there to restrain Pinkie Pie. Smiling, she stabbed forward with the knife. It sunk right into Pinkie Pie's left eye. A foul mixture of blood and ocular fluid dripped from the wound. Pinkie let out a ragged gasp. Her other eye fluttered and then shut.
No, not yet!
Scootaloo thought. She started to panic. Pinkie Pie was slipping. She would be gone soon. Scootaloo wanted more. She needed to feel the rush again. She extracted the knife from Pinkie Pie's skull. With a savage cry, she slashed it across Pinkie's chest. A red mist flew from the knife. She slashed again. Again, the air was filled with splattered blood. She kept on cutting. All restraint was gone now. Only her brutal sadism remained. She wanted Pinkie Pie to suffer until her last breath. She continued her frenzied slashing until Pinkie Pie's chest was just a ragged mess of tattered skin and exposed muscle. Scootaloo stopped and stepped back to admire her handiwork. Pinkie Pie was still breathing, but barely.
Girls, help me out here!
She pointed towards the oven. The 3 fillies grabbed Pinkie Pie and clumsily dragged her towards the oven. With a grunt, they hoisted the mare into the front of it. Scootaloo turned a knob, and a fire sprang to life on the inside of the oven. Through the small window on the oven's door, they could see everything. Pinkie Pie's skin began to crack and bubble in places. The fluid from her eye was simmering. Her chest rose for the last time, and then fell as the remaining life was drained from her.
Scootaloo, you did it!
Applebloom said in awe.
Yeah, I guess I did. Pinkie Pie is dead.
No, I mean your Cutie Mark. You have one.
With a dim surprise, Scootaloo turned around to inspect her flank. Sure enough, there was a cutie mark shining on her backside. It showed the silhouette of a kneeling pony, with red cuts all over the body. A bloody smile dominated the face.
Would you look at that?
Scootaloo said. It seemed strange. She had worked towards this her entire life. Now that she had it, it didn't really seem to matter. Ever since Mrs. Cheerilee's death, she just wanted to feel the thrill of the kill, cutie mark or no.
Looks like we have one more left to go.
She said.
Sweetie Belle, the last one is all yours. Who's up?
No, Pony. For now,
Sweetie Belle replied.
I want my Cutie Mark to be special. I know who I'm going to kill, but I'm going to wait until every pony starts to notice the ponies have gone missing. I want her scared when I do it.
Alright, we'll wait to meet your Cutie Mark.
Applebloom said.
What do we do until then?
Actually, I might need you guys to help me out with something.
Scootaloo said.
I have a score to settle with the newest Wonderbolt flyer.
Twilight Sparkle hummed to herself as she walked along the path. It was such a beautiful day out. It rubbed off on her. She had decided to take the rest of the day off, as Spike had insisted he could take care of the rest of the chores. That might have something to do with Aloysius being in the same room. Twilight was about to turn the corner that led to the MLP forest when she saw Fluttershy trotting towards her. She was wearing a constant smile and seemed to be carrying herself a little bit taller than usual.
Oh, hey, Fluttershy!
She said as she got closer.
You look like you're in a good mood.
Oh, yes, Twilight.
Fluttershy beamed.
It's such a perfect day. I was just out enjoying the fresh air. Where are you off to?
Sakura's. I need some herbs for a transfiguration spell I've been working on.
Oh,
Fluttershy squeaked.
you can't go to the forest now. It's getting, dark out.
Twilight raised an eyebrow. It was only 3:30.
Thanks for the concern, Fluttershy. But I think I'll be fine.
With that, she continued on her way.
Oh dear.
Fluttershy whispered to herself.
I hope I hit Sakura's body well enough.
She nervously walked away, lost in fear and guilt. She wouldn't trade her experience with the dead zebra for the world, though.
Actually, Apple Bloom had some pie filling we mixed Hey, Apple Bloom! I think we just found...
Alright, we'll wait to get you...
Sakura's. I need some herbs for a What? Transfiguration. Got this. I got this. Redo. Sakura's. I need some herbs for a transfiguration. Frick bucket! Why do I get tongue twisted? Ah! Alright. Take number 47. I'm just kidding. It's only 3. Thanks for the... blah blah blah. Barnacles! Why do I get tongue twisted on the simplest words? Okay. Try again. Thanks for the concern, Fluttershy. Crab nuggets. I thought that was a period. Crap. Thanks for the concern, Fluttershy. But I think I'll be fine. With that... Oh, crap. I didn't mean to read that.
Apple Bloom had some pie filling. Oh wait, no, that's her line. Fuck. Scootaloo said. Her wicked grin, its smile, for fuck's sake. Applejack was back at the bar. She was always back at the... Wait, did I say Applejack was back at the bar? Fuck. Her manic smile. She just couldn't get enough of